Today I'm making a historical Polish mead recipe, so let's get started. Hello, I hope you're excited for this video. I've never made a Polish mead until this one. I am shooting this clip a year and a half after I had started this whole project. I've been very ahead with videos, so what you're gonna see today, including the tasting, was done pretty young. The tasting was done at like 3 or 4 months or something quite young comparative to where this is. What I do want to share before we get too far is that this mead turned out fantastic, and here are a bunch of awards that it won. At the end of the video, I'm going to do a tasting now that will be a more updated one, but I do want to give the credit and the time to my friends who tasted this mead early on. So this mead did really well at competitions, and I've really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy watching it progress, watching the whole thing be made, and I'll see you at the end for an updated tasting. So I've always wanted to make a Polish mead, but I've been afraid to. I've kind of heard this style's really tough to do. I've heard about this Polish style called a dwojniak for quite some time. It's a Polish mead style that uses lots of honey, and has to be aged for a very long time, generally speaking. They're normally really expensive, so I've kind of stayed away for a while. However, I felt like it was time. I got myself a ton of honey, some black currant wine base, and decided to go ahead and make a mead with it. I was aiming for the dwojniak strength, which means it has to be between 15 to 18% ABV and a 1-to-1 honey to water ratio. There are a few different strengths, and I'll be honest, I don't know if I really ended up exactly at a dwojniak, but I did end up somewhere within these Polish mead grades, as you see on screen. To start our Polish mead, I went ahead and mixed together a ton of honey and water. My recipe card is on screen, so you can see exactly what I did. The total volume of this brew was about 7 gallons, including my 1 gallon of wine base. Now, before anyone gets mad at me, I do recognize that the black currant wine base is not really honey sugar, it's non-honey sugar. There is a current Polish mead style, and I'll let you try to say the name of it because I don't think I can. We mixed together that starting liquid and pitched the Lalvin DV10. DV10 is a great yeast that ferments clean and can easily get to 17% ABV. You'll see this brew actually went past that. We planned on adding more honey over time so we could step feed this brew. Our starting gravity was 1.146. We then let it start fermenting and staggered our nutrients over the course of about 5 days. When the gravity got to 1.096, we went ahead and added more honey to bring it up to 1.138. And from there, we let it ferment as long as we could. We still added our nutrition over time, but we knew the yeast would quit at some point, and they finally stopped at 1.042. The yeast consumed 146 points of gravity, which would put this brew at a clean 19.65% ABV. It took about 5 weeks for us to get to this point, since I had started it at least. We then decided to go ahead and add some oak. I knew I wasn't going to back sweeten because it ended up pretty sweet, so I added some amburana wood. This wood has a really interesting spice, maple, and graham cracker-like element to it. We added 80 grams of it to our brew while it was still on the previous yeast, and let it set for about 5 weeks. Once we tasted it and noticed that the wood had been present enough in this brew, we racked it into a new container and we bottled some to share with some friends. At the time of this tasting, this brew is about 5 months old. While it's recommended to age this longer, and I will, let's see what this tastes like now. Welcome, Larry and Carlos, to a tasting of a Polish mead, a style that I've not done before. I know Carlos has done one. Larry, have you done a Polish mead?
I've done a few, yeah.
Okay. Well, this is my first time. Feel free to punch down, and because I know you guys are more experienced than me about this. So, I just gave you the explainer on it. I would love your opinions. Give me your notes.
It's very. Just pouring it, like when I open the bottle and just pouring it in the glass, that black currant is definitely jumping out of that glass, and it fills the air around the space.
Yeah. Larry, what do you think?
What kind of honey was this?
Oh gosh, a blend of multiple. I think I had some tropical blossom honey in there, and I don't remember. I had to do a couple different sources, so I think it was some tropical.
It's not terribly tart, which is what I expect anytime I hear blackcurrant. But I don't know. It's balanced well. It comes across as a Polish mead for sure.
It's 1.042 final gravity, so it will definitely be sweet.
You know,
Yeah.
with black currants, I'm always cautious about it, especially like with cherries, depending on how people ferment it or whatever, you get some like cough syrup notes. This is not quite cough syrup. Like it definitely coats your throat like cough syrup, but it doesn't have the harshness of cough syrup.
Yeah, I would agree. It definitely has that. There's a slight medicinal there that's a little bit odd.
Yeah, but that's not abnormal.
How about the alcohol? What's the feel on the presence of the alcohol for this one?
There's actually no fusel alcohols whatsoever. It's a slight warming going down. You feel it right in the middle of your chest, but like it's not hot. You know, I'm not getting any fusels that are coming out of there.
With this being 19% and only 4 months old, I am a little bit shocked that it's not as in your face. Every other thing I've made that's hit above 14, 15, 16% at this point has been pretty harsh, except for the ones that are back sweetened. And I think the back sweetening agent here is really, well, not back sweetening. The stalled sweetness, I guess, is the savior of this thing right now, because I think dry, it would be a just punch in your face of alcohol. But I do like the blackcurrant wine base too, though. I don't know if you guys have used the wine bases, but I'm starting to be a believer in them at this point.
Yeah, I always cringe a little bit when I'm judging a competition and I see dry sack.
If you, well, here's the thing with the Polish style, and I'm sure you guys can attest because you've done it before. One, they have crazy names. So I was trying to figure out what on earth this thing was. I know for a fact, because it's a currant base. It's like I can't even say the word. It's like something crazy. But the understanding with Polish meads of where they fall is also weird. I know I used 32 pounds of honey in 7 gallons, plus this wine base. So I think I'm somewhere at the 1-to-1, maybe roughly, but like the Polish mead style is weird because I feel like if I declare it as a dwojniak and someone says, well, you're not exactly, 50% honey, they're going to be like, it's a traj. No, it's not it. What's the one above? I don't know. They're all.
You have Poltrak, which is the 1.5 or 2-to-1. The dwojniak is a 1-to-1. Dwojniak is either 0.75 or 0.5 to 1. I'd have to look it back up, but from everything I've done, because there's actually a Facebook group dedicated to Polish style meads, and luckily there's quite a few members in there that are, I won't say experts, but they live in Poland, so they're able to get the regulations. So actually be like, all right, this is what the regulation says, because Polish meads have to follow certain guidelines. Right. And it's tricky. It's kind of like a fine line. People still work around it and still call it a Polish style mead. Well, they'll call it a Polish style and not just say, well, this is a dwojniak. They'll just call it a Polish style.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing. And when I submit to competitions, which I've submitted it to a couple at this point, and I'm just calling it generally my Polish mead or something like that, because it's like I don't know. It feels weird to try and declare it when I'm not totally confident in what it is, because I didn't keep good enough notes, I think, on how much honey I was adding. So I don't know. With your experience, though, I think you guys are a wealth of knowledge in this, and I would be curious to attempt it again with greater knowledge. I also feel like this one's going to age decently well. If it's okay now, I'm hoping that a year from now, 2+, it's going to be pretty smooth. Who knows? We'll see. Yeah. Well, guys, thank you for being a part of this tasting. I'm going to make sure and put some links. We've got some big league people in here. We've got Carlos, who is starting his own meadery and I'll put some links to support him below if you're interested in doing that. It's Texas Longhouse Mead. And Larry is the creator of Mead Tools, which is the newest and hottest online source for all mead things. Anything you need to do mead related, you can literally do it there. So I'll make sure and put some links there. But thank you guys for helping me with this tasting. All right, you've made it through. Congratulations. Here's my updated tasting of this. So, as mentioned, that tasting you saw was pretty young. Let's taste it now, a year and a half after its creation. Let's see how the flavors have melded. It is so interesting because the black currant, the amount of the spicy characters, the oak aromas are just popping through. It's a very, very busy mead on the nose, but it does smell really nice because there's still a lot of that honey character. There's all of the fruit character. There's the oak. It smells fantastic. Not a lot of booze on the nose either, considering this is like pretty dang high ABV. Oh yeah. It's, again, I'm gonna use this word, busy. There's so much fruit character that's there with the honey playing in well. The oak is quite strong, but because there's the kind of baking spices and all the stuff in there, it's really nice. This mead is also like not super boozy. It does have a good mellowing effect. There's like a slight amount of booze here at the end, but it's not like, for what the ABV is, it is not too far in your face. I'm sure give this another year or two, it's just gonna be this smooth as butter sort of thing. I think this is fantastic. All of the awards that I talked about at the beginning are, I think, a good showing of how this mead has done in other places. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you to my patrons. Thank you to my YouTube members. Thank you to all the people who have made this channel possible. And thank you, of course, to Carlos and Larry for being part of that tasting. I hope that you will check out some more mead content on the channel, and I will see you next time. Give me some ideas what you want to see down in the comments, and cheers.